Today's date is November 27th in the year of 2020, and we are at the home of the Reverend Dr. Reginald Alton Pope. We are here for the purpose of creating a video memoir of his life. All right, so Uncle Reg is what most of us know him by. I call him Pop.
You're Snap.
And I'm Snap. Snap and Pop. All right, so let me just start by asking you to state your name and birth date.
Okay. Reginald Pope. August 7, 1931.
And where were you born?
In the Bienville Parish of Ringgold, Louisiana.
All right, and your parents' names?
John Oliver Pope, Williola Crawford Pope.
And siblings. Do you have siblings, and how many?
There was 8 of us. Let me see, can I remember all of us? Verba, Myrtle, Reginald, Tanzel, John, Don, Bishop, Nora. Was that 8? I think so.
In that order, huh?
Mm-hmm,
okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you were what number in that lineup?
Number 3, the first boy, but number 3.
All right. Generally speaking, what was your childhood like?
Had a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Enjoyed playing with toys that we made. Give us a couple of syrup box lids and put each on the end of the stick and roll them down the street just like we were doing that, and things like that. And a little later on, we started playing a little softball and stuff, and swinging. Put a rope in a tree and swing on it. Not around the neck now. But swing and back and forth and a little softball. And not much swimming, but those are some of the things that we did. And the fun line, now, each of us had chores, of course. And mine was to bring in the wood for the stove and the fireplace. Didn't have no electric heaters and stuff like that, but you had a stove that you put the wood in and heat up the water and all that. Then you had a fireplace where you put the logs across and heat up the whole house. And my job, the main one, was to get that wood in before sundown. And that was one of my chores.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How often would you do that generally?
Yeah, that was a daily deal.
Daily
deal, yes. Sometimes we might miss a day, weekends or something. But that was a daily deal. And if you get in enough one day, you might skip a day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And during the summer months or the hot months, was that something that you put to the side? Or?
Yeah, we still had to do it for the stove, because that's where we got the heat to cook.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's amazing how good they could cook with stoves like that. But just like Mama, Verba, Merle, all the way down, they learned cooking back then. It's passed on down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think even Nora might have got in on a little of it. But that was the main mode of cooking.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What is your earliest childhood memory?
Boy. It's sitting on my daddy's leg as he was driving the car. I think it was an old 29 Chevy he had, and we had a one-way road, and we were going to meet another car. Dad said, "Boy, how we going to get by?" And I'm in there, I said, the car makes a noise when the back door. I said, "We're going, Because he put in the car, But he pulled over to the side and we got by. But I remember that
You know about how old you were at that time? for that to be your first childhood memory?
Wow, yeah, I guess so. And I'm not sure how old I was. If I had to say, I said 3 or 4. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any particularly happy memories you have of growing up?
I guess being able to participate in the family singing and going to different churches and every once in a while allowed to go to a movie. And of course we sat upstairs. And
Is that in Ringgold?
in the big city of Ringgold, in one theater, and it was downstairs for others and upstairs for us. Yeah. And that was pretty good. But well, I was playing with my neighbors, cousins, Ray, and I guess a little bit with Ray and Alvin, and those was Uncle Noah's children, my mother's brother's children, and of course with my own siblings, Tanzo, and then Reverend Mother for a while. Then I got too rough for them, and so we quit playing too much. Yeah.
Would you go to the movies with your parents, or would they take you, or would you go with cousins or friends?
The one I remember, I went alone, went by myself. And that means, I think I was, maybe it might have been in high school, junior, something like that. And of course it was nighttime, and when it's nighttime and you're walking by yourself, you walk in the middle of the road because there's no cars coming, but you be scurried of snakes on the side. You know? That's what happens, and went to see one, and a couple of them I remember was somebody had a magic carpet. Ooh, some kind of wizard.
That was going to be my next question, because I know you have pretty good memory, even at almost 90 years old. So I was going to say, I bet I know you know the name of the movie, too. So you may not remember the name, but you remember the content.
Yeah.
Wow.
And another one where a fellow was a cameraman, Derek, and he was in jail, and he was showing the pictures that he took. She wanted her picture taken, but she wouldn't pay me. So he showed a picture, he still had it. And I don't remember the name of that one. And I guess one of their favorite characters was Bob Steele. He was a little guy that did a lot of boxing. He'd prance around, hit them big guys in the mouth and keep prancing. They'd be swinging at you, missing. But I don't know what happened to Bob Steele. That probably some way to pull up some of his old movies.
Bob Steele was the actor's name, or the character's name? The actor. Okay.
The actor, yeah. That was his movie name. I don't know what his real name was.
Ah, okay. Interesting. Was there one movie theater in Ringgold?
Yeah.
Just one.
And it didn't last too long.
Do you have any particularly sad memories of being a childhood?
Yeah, you know, when I guess the first funeral I remember was, we called it Aunt Idonia. That was my mother's brother, Uncle Waver's wife, and she passed away. And we were going to the funeral in a pickup truck, and I think the fellow's name was Adele Mingo, who was driving. He was able to get his boss's car, and Aunt Gracie was crying. I said, "Oh, what you crying about? A little limb or something hit you in the eye?" You know, I didn't know nothing about sadness then. And kind of quieted down, and then somebody else died, and I was crying. Grandpa Charles said, "What's the matter with you, boy?" "I'm scared everybody gonna die and leave me." He said, "You don't have to worry about that one."
Yeah.
Oh Oh boy, but those are some sad ones, and I think those are the main ones. Though we had some dogs, and I don't know how they got out of our lives. They probably just grew up and died or something. But we was crazy about one we called Gentleman, and the female we called her Lady, and I had another one called them Sonny, and they would be all around us, and we didn't know anything about taking care of dogs. We just fed them, you know, no hygiene stuff. But they were a lot of fun.
And then when they were gone, you recall missing them, missing their presence.
Yeah, every once in a while somebody else's dog would pass by and they'd get in fights out there. And we always brag about, my dog won, my dog won. Boy.
Are there any particularly instructive lessons you learned that you remember as a child?
Instructive, like somebody teaching me or something I can teach somebody else? Okay. I suppose. Instructive. Be obedient to your parents, and try not to lie to them. I didn't keep all of those, but I tried not to, and got me out of trouble one time. But do that, and later on I learned to kind of see my sisters as someone I should help protect instead of being rivals with, you know. And learn that, and of course your schooling. Sisters, two of them ahead of me in classes, and they'd come home and do their homework, and I'd be listening. And when I got to the class that they had, I was so good. They thought I was smart, but I just knew how to listen. Till Sister Queen Allison, her dad Cal Robinson, they promoted me a grade ahead, which means I was able to graduate just before I got to the year 18. I was 17 when I graduated. 1948, May 28, Ringgold Colored High School.
May 28, 1948 was your graduation day. Okay.
And a week or two later, June 19th, I think it was, they had a baseball game in Castor, right there where AAA Fuss's old car that people passed by, that was a baseball diamond. And I was selling candy. And that was Saturday, I believe, and then Monday, I left for California. In a 1940 Chevrolet with the knee actions with a fella named Hugh Monroe. And I came out here to work in the farm for a summer. And had been a long summer. I was supposed to go back home, and I was still here. And of course, I'd go back home every 2 years at least, maybe sometime more. But it's always kept in touch with the home.
Was Hugh Monroe a family member?
Let me see. I know somewhere in our history we connect.
Okay.
But he was not a direct family member. But he was a owner of a Chevrolet and a good family member and so forth. And he was coming, and I believe it was 3 of us in the car, and him and his daughter and myself, I believe.
Okay.
And we made it out here. Yep.
What did you do between graduating and when you left for California? What was going on with you then?
Oh, I've got to do a little something, because it wasn't that long. Just a few, maybe a month.
Okay.
And I had some experiences though during the growing up time of picking cotton and plowing and chopping cotton and things like that. And that was kind of rich. I love to ride the mules that we had.
Not for work, just for fun.
Well, what we do, we go out and work them, and when we're coming home from the field, we'd ride them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And of course, there were horses that we did not work that we still rode. Fact of the matter is, when my dad and all his siblings left home, their dad, Grandpa Charles as we call him, supplied each of them with a horse. And it was not a scrub, it was a good thoroughbred horse almost.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in our family. Everybody had a horse on the dad's side. And that's some of the memories during that time.
Okay. How did your parents feel about you leaving for California?
Mom particularly thought it was a kind of a loss, because she had, when I got here, and back in that day when you were going to unite with another church, you're supposed to bring a letter from the church you're coming from. So when I wrote back, asked for my letter, she said, "Oh Lord, brother gonna stay out there now." And she was hoping that I'd come back to stay. But that's the way that went. And I guess I was out here a few months before I united with the church.
Okay. And that was?
Oh, the Paradise Missionary Baptist Church, 4925 South Compton Avenue.
Okay.
LA 90011.
All right. Pastored by a family, yes.
Yeah, Aaron James Iverson, Pastor A.J. Iverson.
Did you know him well, or the Iverson family well, before leaving Ringgold?
Kind of. What got me to know him, kind of, he was already out here. And he came back to Louisiana. And they did, I guess you call it a youth service one Sunday afternoon. And he was preaching. And I was on to get with the devotion. And I did one of the old Dr. Watts hymns. "Who's that boy there? Who's that boy?" Somebody told me who I was. When I came to California, as soon as he said, I want you to be on my deacon board, you know.
Oh, wow.
So at the age of, before 19, I guess I was on the deacon board.
Oh, my goodness.
By singing the hymn.
Yeah. Okay.
Boy.
Now, coming from the big city of Ringgold, what was your first impression of the big city of Los Angeles?
Okay, as soon as I crossed the line from Arizona to California, I said, "Oh man, this is California." You know, desert, trees, sand.
Yeah.
This is California. Man. And as I got here, I was able to be helped quite a bit by relatives. Aunt Mary Jane and Uncle Bill were out here for the summer, and Teresa Hughes, who married an alum, and he passed away, then she married Charlie Mans at the church. But she kind of helped tutor me, and at those days you could rent a room. I don't remember paying no rent, but they had a room that they'll let me stay in there. And from there, went and stayed with Uncle Milton a while. But those were kind of people that helped me get through it. And then Mary Jane, Uncle Bill were responsible for me getting a bank account, saving, and a credit, and a checking. Mm-hmm. And that was 1949. And this is what, 2020?
Yeah.
I still got the same checking account.
Mm.
Not much in it, but I got the account. The saving account been gone a long time ago.
Okay.
But they were all people who helped me get acclimated to this condition out here.
Do you remember the address where you first lived when you came?
92nd and Anzac, and I don't know, 92 or something, Anzac and Watts.
Okay. That was the room at Terethur's house?
And then Milton was around 46, and Central, Cousin Willie had a joint, I guess you call it a bar, and food together. He had this house in the back that he rented, and that's where Uncle Milton was staying. So I stayed there with him for a while. And those were the early residents that I had.
All right. So you see, you came out here to work on a farm,
Mm-hmm.
and you were almost immediately crowned a deacon
Yeah.
when you got here.
Yeah.
So in between working and going to church, what other type of things did you do with your time?
Movies.
Lots of movies?
Yeah, I knew all of the movie stars in those days. And it was on Central, there was probably 4 theaters on Central Avenue. And whenever I got a shot, that's where I'd be in the movies, sitting back there. Yeah.
Did you have a group of friends that you used to hang around with? Were you pretty much alone?
Cousin Charles, that's Uncle Howard's son, kind of took me under his wings, and he and I would go places. And somewhere along the way, he acquired a convertible, I believe it was a 46 Ford. And we would go places. And one of the favorite places was a park called Val Verde. I guess it must be 30, 40 miles out of Los Angeles. More or less inhabited by blacks. And we'd go there, walk around and watch the games and, things like that. And he was very instrumental in kind of keeping me on the right track. Kinda. Yes, but he was one, of course, Uncle Milt. He was older, so in that capacity, he helped a lot. But Charles was still older, probably 4 or 5 years older than I was. And he kind of took me under his wings.
Okay. Oh, just to go back to an earlier subject, I wanted to ask you about the school. Was there one school you attended from, I guess, kindergarten all the way through?
No, that was elementary. The St. Luke Church had a school right next to it. St. Luke. Matter of fact, most all of the churches where people of African descent went had a school right next to it.
Okay.
St. Luke, and then I'm just naming the churches, New Star, all of them had a school.
Okay.
St. Matthew, Evergreen, they had a school next to them. And I went to St. Luke, and I guess about 6th or the 7th grade, I think 7th grade, I told Daddy, I want to go to Ringgold High School. So Said, who's gonna take care of your little brothers and sisters? They go to school. And I don't know what I said, but he let me go.
So you started going to Ringgold while your younger siblings were still at St. Louis? Okay.
Matter of fact, I believe classes at Ringgold High started at the 7th grade. Started somewhere there.
Okay.
So you had the other elementary schools.
Okay.
Like St. Mary down. Matter of fact, I went there for a while. Down right near where the St. Mary Church is until this day.
Okay. And did you all walk to school, or were you driven to school? You had a bus, or to and from?
What they said we used to call our feet, old Pat and old Jack or something like that. That's what we went on our feet. And in the latter years, probably 10th grade, from then on, we were riding the bus. They would pick up children in Castor, come through Ringgold and pick us up at the old Myrick store and go into the school and then bring us back in the evening.
Okay. Were you involved in any clubs or sports, recreational activities at school?
Played a little basketball. Some say I was pretty good. And if you made 6 or 8 points in a game, you were real good. Because sometimes the total points for me would be 32.
Yeah,
30,
okay,
like that.
okay.
Yeah, boy. And that's not organized, but we had a little softball and all of that going on. Football was too rough for me. I didn't mess with that.
Okay. How about, given the strong musical background your family had, were you in a choir at school or any music classes at all?
Yeah. I thought I knew it already because my dad was a music teacher with the shape notes. And I'd be listening to the teacher. I know that. That's not right. Oh, boy. But that was that. I don't remember being in a class, in a choir, but being in a class that taught music.
Okay. You ever take up any instruments?
No. It used to be what you call I guess it was a Jew's harp. It's kind of like little Stevie Wonder used to play.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
First thing came to my mind was what we call a mail rider. They used to bring your mail in a car, put in your mailbox, and they would have small change on the seat. If you wanted to pay for something and pay for a stamp, you could do that. And I saw the money. I said, what you want to be, boy? I said, mail rider. He said, that ain't that money. I said, oh. Oh, boy. So that's the first I remember wanting to be that. And of course, educational-wise, I wanted to continue that. But circumstances kind of hindered that when I graduated from high school. Had to kind of get on my own. And but I made the best of what I do have, I think. And pretty good at that, but that was what I wanted to do. Never wanted to be too much of a farmer. That's everybody was doing that.
So you wanted to go to college. Did you want to? Did you have a particular profession in mind or a particular line of education?
The teachers at school, Ringgold, said, "You be a good college. You be a good college guy." And matter of fact, I think I can help get you a little scholarship down at Grambling. And I played a little basketball. I guess they thought I was good enough. get you a little scholarship. That did not materialize, and that was one of the it's called low points. As my sister Verba and Myrtle had a chance to go to college. Verba got her a pretty good start. Myrtle went a little bit, but when it come to me, he said, "Boy, you're blessed." I think he said, "You're lucky. I got you this far, you know, got it in so many ways that you got to scramble for yourself." Mm-hmm. And that was a few months before I left for California. And so that, you know, I thought I could just come out here and go to another school. And your tuition is this? I said, okay. Mm-hmm. So I just picked up a little here, a little bit there, and what I am, I gained it from being observant and reading a lot and listening to folks who knew what they were doing. Mm-hmm. My English is not all it should be, but I did pretty good by listening to the national newscaster, particularly Walter Cronkite. I think he was on CBS. Mm-hmm. And they had their sentence structure good and pronunciation of words.
This was when you were in school?
That was when I got here.
When you got here, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's where I'm learning from.
Ah.
Yeah, so that's it, you know. I got the call to the ministry. Of course, I got in seminaries then. And that's particularly I was, gosh, 72. It was in the 70s, probably 72, when I started, maybe a little earlier, going to Reed Christian College, and then to Golden Gate Seminary Extended for ministry. And those are the main institutions that I have no big word, matriculated in.
So when you first came here to work on the farm, what kind of farm was it?
Watermelons. There's a place in Perris, Riverside, the Lake View, where they had great big watermelons farms. And Grandpa Charles, who I came with, was an inspector and a picker. You can look at it. He said, "That's a good one." They cut it off and they stack it up. And then we'd have a truck go down. We'd line up and one pitch it to the other, pitch to the other one, pitch it up and the other, stack it on the truck. So that was that. And one day, man, it was a Sunday. You know, I hadn't wanted to work on a Sunday, but I ended up making $30 one day. So, well then. Ah, boy. Yes, sir. So that was then, and that was an experience. Had some fun with the fellows.
And was it family all pretty for the most part? A lot of family you were working with?
Yeah. Grandpa had a brother named Coleman. He had a son named Willie. And from them, they had relatives. And all of us kind of worked together and had a tent where we stayed. We didn't stay in houses. We only had a tent on the farms. And that's where it was.
So that's quite a ways away from Los Angeles, so you all would stay there when you were working, you wouldn't drive back and forth there?
No, come back on the weekends maybe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now, what was your first job in California outside of the farm?
It was with a little company called Field Socket Manufacturing. They made leather goods, plus part of the stuff that go with dresses. They had some dress manufacturers downtown, but they would send to that company to have the belts made. And we would make the belts to match the dress, sizing and all of that. Then we would do optical cases, so you kept your eyeglasses in cases. And those were the products. And of course, along with that, we had gold stamping where you stamped the glass cases with the name of the person who was buying it, the company who was buying it. Mm-hmm. So we went through that for several years. And kind of got promoted, and I got started off at the great big salary, 65 cents an hour.
What year was that?
It was probably 49, 50.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. And I tried to save a stub, pay stubs as a memento. And it may be among some of my souvenirs now, but way back then. Well, that was job-wise. As a little while, I tried to be I guess you call it a gas station operator. But at the same time, I was working, going to school, and I just couldn't hang with it, you know. Mm-hmm. So one night I was supposed to relieve a guy, I think around 10 o'clock. About 12 o'clock they called me. I was still snoring. I just didn't want to let some of this go. Yeah. So it was those kind of little jobs. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You had mentioned me in a conversation we had before about you went to the movies a lot when you got here, and you, if I recall correctly, you remembered the names of several theaters.
Yeah. On Central Avenue, Rosebud, Florence Bill Robinson, and those are three that come to memory right now. I know there's another one, but all of those was on Central Avenue. Okay. That was our main drag in those days. And one was down around, I guess, 20-something Central. Others around about 30-something South Central. Mm-hmm. And one around 40-something South Central. And another around 50-something South Central.
Oh, boy. Yeah. And were these mostly African-American attended, or all?
Yeah, totally, I think. Totally. There might have been a few, but totally, yeah.
Central Avenue has a history of being a jazz.
Yeah. They got
jazz location.
Place over there now that they are still. I think they made a hotel out of it by now.
The Dunbar.
Yeah, yeah. Used to be where the people of African descent stayed when they came here with their music. Musicians like Count Basie, Duke Ellington, Billy Eckstein. Sammy Davis Jr., all of those, Lena Horne. That's where they would stay because it wasn't too accommodating at other places. Yeah.
Was Cousin Willie's inn or bar or whatever it was, lounge in that area or in or near that area?
Yeah, it was 46th and Central. Bill Robinson Theater was Vernon, which was about 44th and Central. And of course, Cousin Willie later on moved over to Avalon Boulevard, but the time that I was growing up in the area, that's where it was. But Bill Robinson was a little bit north, and then I can't think of the one that was south of there. It was about 6 blocks south. But it was all within almost walking distance.
Okay. And the one on Central is the one you used to live behind with Uncle Milton?
Yeah.
Okay. That was the Rex Inn.
Yeah, the Rex Inn. And Rex Inn was named after his baby boy, I think, his youngest son. Rex.
Rex Pope.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You probably ran across his name somewhere.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I guess I've had, I don't want to call it the pleasure, I don't want to call it the opportunity, but the chance to participate in their homegoing services as a pastor, as a preacher, and most of those. It's, we had some preachers before, but they were older, and I guess like most, I notice most families now, when they get a preacher in the family, they depend upon him for quite a bit. Yeah. So, I guess we'd call it a eulogist.
How would you describe, give me an overall description of Reginald in his 20s?
Cool. Yeah. I'd put some pomade on my hair, and have it kind of wavy, and I try to keep up with Cousin Charles. He could stitch and make certain shirts with the collar way down like that, and had some alligator mixed shoes. They didn't match my clothes, but they was alligators. Had a watch with imitation diamonds on it, a red diamond.
Red diamond?
Yeah.
A little flashy, huh?
Yeah. Went back to Louisiana one time with some loafer shoes that had a little slot in right on top of it, and I could stick a quarter in there, you know. Went to school on the shore. Chase and Washington friends, boy, you better get that money out of your shoes. Somebody gonna knock you in the head and take it. Boy.
Say in my day they're called penny loafers. We used to
Yeah.
stick a penny in there.
Yeah.
You was big time. You put a quarter in.
Yeah.
All right. What would you say were some good lessons you learned in the 20s?
Eat healthy. Guess that would be the main one. Because at home, you know, you didn't get a lot of sweets. But I started going crazy on sweets. I had a transfer place from one streetcar to another as I went to work. And when I got there, early in the morning, a little stand over there, and I stopped in and buy some coconut cream pie. And that would be my breakfast.
Very different from your rearing, huh?
Yeah. I took a good sense to listen to a few folks. Chuck Socket, who was my boss's son, Reg, boy, you better eat you some thing of beef, something. They don't do pork, but eat you some beef. I kind of started eating beef. And cousin Teresa, Reg, boy, you better get you some turnip greens in you. I listened to her, a fellow named Lee Cole. Now, you don't need that white bread. You see how it mix up when you put it in the water. Get you some wheat bread. So I listened, and thank God. I think it helped health-wise.
Helped you to get to 89, huh?
Yeah. I drank a lot of sodas, which I, liked, but I found out later they're not the best thing for you, not continuously.
Yeah.
But I never did like or get involved with alcohol and smoking. back in Ringgold, somebody would throw away a cigarette butt, and I'd pick it up and light it and puff on. Oh, and somewhere out here, they give me a taste of beer. Ooh. So I didn't like that. So that's what helped me get through it.
Okay.
And I went to a party. Cousin Teresa, the neighbor, put on a party, and his team, a man and a husband, woman and a husband named Younger, and they put on the party. They'd have the beer there. Come on, boy, have this beer. I said, okay. And I take it, pop it open. He come back and said, boy, you ain't finished that beer yet? I said, okay. So I saw an empty can. I picked it up and hit the other one. That's better, boy, that's better. Oh, boy. Damn, you wasn't partying unless you were having you some beer. Oh, boy. But one thing I do remember, that was before I left Grandpa Charles. I guess he was what you call a bootlegger. He made something. Mm-hmm. And we was together around, and he gave me a little bit in I think it was a mason jar top. And I drank that. Oh, that's good. Give me some more. No, you can't have no more. I wonder why he didn't give me no more. Boy, but he made it good somehow.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I don't know what it made out of. It's been corn and stuff. Boy. But he was a man of many talents.
All right, and this is Charles Pope.
Yeah.
Paternal grandfather.
Yeah. But he was very, I guess you call it, successful in what he did. Like I say, when his children left home, they all had I wouldn't say a thoroughbred, but a healthy horse. And he had some land. And matter of fact, his dad before him, I'm switching from here now way back there, but anyway, his dad before him, General Pope, as we call him. I know he had at least 120 acres. And some of the children got some parts of that as they matured. And I remember Grandpa Hill was on kind of the main road, I believe it was Highway 7, but they go from Ringgold to Coshada to All Summit, right up there on the hill, nice spot. And I think Ernest Woodard talked him out of that and gave him a plot of land that hadn't been developed. But we call it new ground. Grandpa got over there and got that cleared up, and it was a rich soil. And he made his crops and kept his livestock, and on the side he sharpened people's tools, hoes and saws. Derek laughing. HOES, okay. The tool. But he was a blacksmith, and people, sometimes they plow and break off the point of that plow, and he put in the heat and got it red hot, put it on an anvil and beat it out and make another sharp point on it, take it on back. And he take corn and put in what we call a grits mill. It's something that would take that corn and grind it up to the meal that you have in your house. He had that going on. And what else? He was good at a lot of things.
And when he came out here, he was working on the farm as well. The watermelon farm.
Yeah. I think he had. I guess retired from farming down there. They were living, and I don't know how he got to. He was living in a house of Grandma Nace, that's his wife's brother's house.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, so I don't know how, from what he had to where he is, he got there. But he was a happy boy. He wouldn't say it. Tell more jokes than I can.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, boy. Yes, baby.
Did he have a position in the church?
He's a deacon.
And what church was that?
New Star.
New Star. That was the family church for the most part when you guys were growing up?
Yeah, as my dad's side, New Star, and my mom's side was St. Matthew. St. Matthew was the mother church. And New Star, and I think maybe even Evergreen came out of St. Matthew.
Oh, okay.
And then when we moved closer to town, all of us started going to Mount Zion in Ringgold.
And all of those churches are still
Yeah.
operational today?
Yeah, it's still operating. Mount Zion was in the process of building right uptown, right where the red light is, just a little, I guess you'd call that a little north of there. And last times I checked, it got kind of stalled and they hadn't finished. And I haven't found out the condition now, but because I told them, let me know when to celebrate, because I wanted to come there when you celebrated, because that's where I was baptized, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But every time I ask somebody, no, they're not finished yet, they haven't finished yet. So one fella I asked says, yeah, our contractor's about to do it and he come down with this COVID. I said, yeah, okay. So I don't push it too much.
Were you ever drafted?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I was drafted and swore in and told me we're going to take your boys to Fort Ord. You got about 4 hours. Be back here and be ready. So I went down where I worked and fooled around there for a while and came back. And been like, where's Reginald? Where's Reginald? I said, what did I do this time? He said, come here, we're going to swear you out. I said, what's up? Well, we found something in your chest and you probably need to go to your health department. I was glad I didn't have to go to the military. But when I went to the health department, they found out I did have a tuberculosis condition and ended up in the hospital. I forgot what that word they call it now. For up to 18 months, because the doctor told me when I went there, and if you stay here till we release you, you won't have to come back no more. Plus I had a pretty good insurance that I just joined because Milt had an agent come and talked me into it. Okay. So I just joined that, and I guess 9 months out of a year, they collect the money, then I'll be 3 months off and come back the next 9 months. So I'm there, and strange things that I didn't keep because I was glad to get out. All of my charts from when I went in to just before I got out, all of them were negative. You know, when they take your culture and stuff. And at the end, they threw one on, I think, just to make it sure. Yeah, I said, oh. But, you know, I adapted real good. I edited a little newsletter for the place and went from ward to ward showing the movies on those old reel-to-reels. And
this is why you were staying there as a patient for up to 18 months. What year was it that you went in or were drafted?
54.
54. And you were still working at the field socket place at that time? And that's where you purchased the insurance through your job, or no, something separate?
Uncle Mill had some kind of salesman come to the house.
Okay.
And they taught me in the journey.
And that took care of your medical bills?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And Cousin Lucius was selling gold estate that was a black-owned insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And I took something out there that I think the max was $5,000, and I got to find it back there. It's still death benefit stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I got that way back then and paid that out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so wasn't looking for it in both instances, but I'm trying to help somebody else, Milt's
Yeah.
trying to get Lucius trying to make a living. I said,
boy. Boy.
Mm-hmm.
So when you were drafted, you were supposed to be sent to, you say Fort?
ORD, I think that's Fort Ord.
Okay.
That's somewhere up in California.
In 1950, what did you,
Mm-hmm.
I figure, how old were you?
Yeah, you just, I think I might have been close to 20.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
you say you, it was not a hospital per se that you were in? Or a care facility or something?
Long Beach. I guess if you're gonna look it up, you need to find a hospital, but I didn't think whatever, called it something else at that time.
Was it like a traditional hospital that we
you had your beds and doctors and the nurses.
Okay. You have your own room or you shared with someone?
Bed by bed.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
A big room with beds.
Yeah.
Wow.
And guess it'd be at least 10 beds on this side of the room and 10 on that one, lined up that way. And doctor come around once a day and ask you how you doing for this and for that. And then the old doctor named Fromez. And somebody said, oh, my back was hurting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I had a headache. Okay. Come back and give everybody the same little red pill.
That was my next question. Are you taking medication while you're in this place for 18 months?
Yeah. There are 3 meds. I can almost think of the name. And I don't know what they meant, but PAS, INH, and streptomycin. And when I said streptomycin, Charlotte kind of acted like she knew what that was.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Charlotte can tell me what those are. And so you weren't bedridden, like you had to stay in the bed, but you had to stay in the hospital. You didn't go anywhere outside the hospital.
Right.
That's where you lived for 18 months.
They give you a weekend off sometimes.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't have any symptoms, no coughing or nothing?
Yeah, you bring up stuff.
Okay.
But it was all negative.
Until that
They
was.
call it sputum.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah. And I don't know, I can't document it or say that that's anything, but on the job where I was, we had 2 spray booths where the materials that you were going to combine, you'd have a glue, and you spray it on there. Of course, you had a fan supposed to draw it out. You come in, you have your little white on the hair in your nose. They tell you to put on a mask, but you still have that. One of them was small, the other one was big, and I don't have no proof, but I'm thinking that had something to do with my lungs.
Yeah. And you said you did wear a mask, but you would still have particles on it.
We'd wear a mask, but sometimes you know how we are. We didn't do it every time.
Yeah.
Of course, you see, this is a little job. I can just spray this whole thing one time, be all over.
But when you were going back and forth to Ringgold in California, when you would go back home to visit, when you fly or drive?
Most time driving. Now when when Dad was on his last, few months or whatever. First time I flew. Jumped on plane and left by 7 in the morning. By 7 at night before we got there was on old propellers.
Mm-hmm.
And we stopped somewhere, time or two. But that was my introduction to flying.
Mm.
And then I still did most of the time driving with someone
Okay.
until, recently, because we used to have a lot of fun driving and took pleasure in driving and knowing those places and
Mm-hmm.
stopping like that.
How long would it take you back in those days? With how many people you had?
Yeah, it used to be at least 3 in the car, sometimes 4, at least 3. And in the earlier times, when they had the 1 lane each way highways, it could take 30-something hours, I think 36. And once they got Interstate 10, 20 and all that, if you really got on it, you can do it in 24 hours. But you couldn't do that, just stop and get you some gas and get right back in.
Yeah.
So I guess a good trip would be about 28 hours if you're just gonna. But we took pleasure in seeing how quick we could get there.
Uh-huh.
In the old age, I said, see how safe I can get there. Yeah. But those were some learning times.
Yeah. So when you're in the hospital for 18 months with tuberculosis and you get released,
Mm-hmm.
do you still have your job at Field Socket, or do you start working?
Yeah. He was ready to take me back, but they told me, you convalesce at home X number of weeks. I forgot how much it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I went back. They wanted me because they considered me a pretty good worker, His son had been in the Marines, and he brought some of that Marine mentality with him. And I had to outsmart him a couple of times, and he let me alone. But Reggie, this is not. I said, okay. So had a machine. You see the holes in your belt? Your belt hole spring.
Oh, uh-huh.
You could take your belt and put those brrr, and he looked around, and got his thumb caught out. I said, oh. I couldn't laugh out loud, but I laughed.
Yeah.
And then there were a certain way when we would laminate and glue stuff together, we would put a big board down, and lay the stuff face down, put another piece of paper under it, lay the next one down, put another piece under it, and end up with a pretty tall stack. So he was gone one time, and a package of plastic came in where you pull it off. It was face to face, You open this, you'd have green, black, and instead of having a single. And I said, okay, I'm gonna try that. So when I put them on the board this time, I put one face up, other face down, face up, face down. Oh, he came back and went, you guys been fooling around. Got that little short table over there. I said, come here. Oh, I said, I need to get a bonus. Yeah, had to get him through that military stuff. Yeah, boy. Yes, he went out all right. An old man, he got getting feeble, Jewish. And Reg, when I go, would you say a word over me? Yeah. I mean it. I said, okay. But I guess he didn't tell his family. And the thing I knew when he gone, I wasn't working there, but he was gone, and unburied him. So I said, okay. Okay.
And this was your immediate supervisor or boss or?
Yeah, boss, old Phil Socker was the owner.
Okay.
His son Chuck
Okay.
was kind of the supervisor.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Christmas gift. Most time be a fruit cake from Vickman's. And they made some good fruit cakes. And they put down somewhere around 6 San Pedro Street downtown. And that's where he would go to eat most of the time. And I'd be driving him over there. But he had some good fruit cakes. Now there you go again. There you go. Ah, boy.
What was your first car and how old were you?
It was a 1940 Ford. It'd been primed to get painted, but it never got painted. And cousin Charles bought it, and he kind of gave it to me just to keep the notes up.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first one. And one time I missed a note, he come over there mad. Damn it, I told you to keep the notes up. Okay. Oh, boy. But he did a lot for me. You know, you didn't appreciate it right then, but when he passed, you know, before he passed, they were what you call Jehovah's Witnesses. And he'd come out of the office, and we just talk a little, and hey, to bother you now, let's talk. I went in the hospital. I went to see him, and when I got to go, just held my hand, you know. And when they funeralized him, cousin Veda, well, I said, when I went to see him, oh, you went to see him? I said, yeah, I went to see him 2 times. Oh, all we went by was who signed the book. I said, no, I didn't sign the book. So that relieved her, because she thought he was out there all that time. I didn't go to see him. But when I made the statement at his graveside service, oh, I'm glad, see that, he believed, see that, I told you. So she was glad to hear that. Cousin Aveda still with us, and she's getting close to 100.
She's yeah, she's older than you.
Oh yeah.
Much older, yeah. Like I said, close to 100.
Yeah, because between me and, so I think she was up with Verba and a little bit above Verba.
Okay.
We was wondering how Dad and Uncle Howard got married, and he had this child first. So that means she's a little bit older than Verba, and Verba was born in 27.
Okay.
So that would be what, 27? That would be 63 plus 20. That got to be more than that. 1927 to 2027, that would be 60.
73?
73, must be 73, yeah. And then from there to 20, you add 93 to it, yeah. And that's kind of conservative, so she probably was born a little bit earlier than Verba.
Okay. So she would likely be the oldest living female pope that we know of.
That's what I'm believing.
And then the oldest living male, based on the birthday that just passed, I think might be Joe King, just turned 90.
Joe Cephas,
Just ahead of you.
He has lost most of his eyesight. And he was always cool dresser. And Had a lot of fun with him and Charles and I. A lot of fun.
And Ringgold growing up?
No, that was here.
Oh, here as a young adult, so. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we all would meet up, excuse me, sometime, you know. But we had a lot of fun, and in those days, every year, Coleman and them would have family picnics.
Mm-hmm.
And they was big, they always show up, and we were pretty close back in those days.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So what type of things did you all, the fellas, enjoy doing together that you can tell me about on film?
Yeah. Fellas.
Good looking, cool, clean, diamond watch with the red stuff, okay, and the alligator shoe, all right, okay. I'm not going to ask you about the ladies, I'm just going to make some assumptions that there were plenty prospects.
Yeah. We would travel a lot, Charles and I think we went to Mexico 2 or 3 times.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, driving and bring back souvenirs. And we learned how to bargain, because whatever price they give you, they was expecting you to bargain.
Mm-hmm.
How much is that, old partner? $10. Nah. What about 5? No. What about 7? Okay. Okay, so you learned that up until now, I think. Usually those who do work for you leave room for you to bargain. Yeah. Still somewhere back there got an old, guess you would call them a business card holder. Must be about 10 inches long, 3 inches wide, that folds together. You stick your business cards in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's made out of genuine leather. It had a little embossment on it.
From where you used to work?
Oh, that was from Tijuana.
Oh, that was from, okay.
We bought it.
You have old business cards still in there?
I doubt it. Maybe. But it was good leather. It's still, you don't know what I got in it.
Mm-hmm. Did Mom Willie ever visit you in California?
That ain't funny, but it is funny. First time she came here, was right in the middle of the riots.
Oh.
And we met her down at the bus station or train station. And picked her up, coming back, and everything was lit up, and we coming down the freeway. She said, "Brother, I wouldn't feel bad. You can put me right back on that train." Yeah, I go right on back. I'm scared, but I'm trying to make like I was. Oh, Mama, that ain't nothing. They gonna cool down. But that's when she first came, and
so was that 62? Was it right? 62, 64, somewhere around there.
Yeah, but when she came, I think I already had the apartments, because I tried to get her to stay.
Oh.
All you need to do is, you want to wash my clothes and do a little cooking, do it all. Oh, but what about my cow and my chicken?
Oh.
So I said, okay. So it had to be, I think I bought that house at 65, I believe.
Okay.
Probably closer to 60. I think she passed in 68. I believe so. So between 65 and 68.
Let's see, let me look it up real quick. Oh, yeah, 65.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. August 11th to August 16th, 1965. Okay, so that was her first trip.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, and was there anything other than that was remarkable about that particular trip?
Mm.
Or was she coming for a particular purpose, or just?
No, just I wanted out here, and of course, in the process, she met my only son, Michael, and his parents, grandparents, and they took a liking to each other.
Oh yeah. Michael and Ma Willie.
Yeah.
Okay. He was how old at that time?
Gosh, he was born in '51.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He was 14. 14.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. And somewhere there's a picture. I think with him, and I know with Mom and his grandma, maybe him too, I think. But where it is, another story. Would you be interested in a letter that my dad wrote me?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Got that back there.
Okay. Surely.
I thought I had one that Mom wrote me, but I can put my hands on the one Dad wrote me.
Okay. And I'll wait for you to put your hands on the other one. I'll make another appointment with you. Come out here and see your all your mementos. If you need me to come help you pull them out, let me know. We can do that together. I want to see it all.
Yeah. You can probably see the one from Daddy today. I don't know if you can take a picture of it or how you want to do it.
Okay, thank you.
I can pull that one up.
All right. All right. So Mama Willie came out here, what, twice? That was the first time?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. And next time you sent for her then too?
Oh, yeah. Yes, sirree.
Man, was there, do you recall about when that was?
No. If I can remember the year she passed away, then I can kind of calculate that before.
I think I remember it being, her birthday's in February, right?
Mm-hmm.
January 1969 was when she passed away.
69,
Yeah.
Okay. So it probably was 68 and 66 maybe, 68.
Okay. And you say when you say you had the apartments on New Hampshire at that time?
Yeah, I bought them in 65.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where she stayed?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
18 upstairs?
18 and a half.
18 and a half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's another story about buying those apartments.
That's okay. Let's hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably have some good wisdom and financial advice for the youngins in there.
Yeah, that was a lady named Margaret P. Moore. She was a real estate agent, and she was, they called her doctor, and I think it was honorary, but she was really big in the real estate, her and her husband Gene. Now, you done been around here all this time, by the time you start investing in something. I said, yeah. And she, I got this apartment over here. You want it? I said, oh yeah, but I can't. Do you want it? I said, yeah, but I can't. Do you know the Lord is able? Yeah, I know. Yeah, so they got it down. Biggest note was $233 a month. And they had a second and a third.
Mm-hmm.
She carried the third. I think the third was $25 a month, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she got me in there that way. I said, oh boy.
Wow.
So I wrote that 233 so often that my hand just automatically knew every month to write 233.
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah.
30 years? 30 years?
30 years.
Wow.
95, I guess it was when this paid off.
And stayed at 233.
Mm-hmm.
My
I
Lord.
never did do no refinancing and stuff like that.
Yes, yeah.
That's a last resort for me. Yeah,
Okay, so as a direct lesson to those who will be listening to this and need some financial advice, other than what you've already said, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah. Well, my bad English said, God ain't making no more dirt. So if you get over some real land, it's not hardly gonna go down in value. It's probably gonna appreciate instead of depreciate.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to invest in something that's gonna bring you some resources, try to make it a place you can rent. Sometimes they say the first one is your house, but that's gonna be a continued expense,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not gonna make any money.
Right.
But if you get something you can rent, that's a continued income, and it'll pay you to know a little bit about maintenance yourself. But you get somebody you trust to do your maintenance in those areas of electric and water and all that stuff, repair.
Mm-hmm.
And it appreciates, and particularly in this time, shortage of housing around here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you can strain up and get through that, get started on that,
Okay.
you won't regret it.
Yes. All right.
Mm-hmm.
What's been your biggest expense as far as upkeep or maintenance of that property?
Roof, I had to do a roof. And guess that was the biggest. I didn't have to, but I restuccoed it. And I think those are the cost of taxes every year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's close by right now, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
With that. So you continue to have the small to middle size expenses, but big one like that, roofing, and when I first started out doing my own yards and stuff,
Okay.
and that's not a big expense, but it is an expense.
Yeah. And you've only replaced the roof once in 30 years or over 30 years?
Yeah, I think only once. Strange thing, we did one here about maybe 10 years ago or less. And Juanita said, well, I guess we won't be here one night because we got a 30-year guarantee on it. I said, well, I think so. Speak for yourself. I tend to be here. But we can take jokes. We can take jokes.
Yeah.
We can take jokes. Yes, sirree.
Now let's talk about Reginald in his 30s.
Boy. That's where I was when I bought the apartments in my 30s.
Yeah, you said 1965, so you what,
Wait
34?
a minute, yeah. That's where I was, 30-something.
And you were working still at Phil Socket at that time?
Yeah. And I don't remember the year that he closed down, but there was a gold stamping machine, and I think he almost gave it to me. I did some gold stamping for a while. And meantime, I was trying to pass to Bethel and trying to go to school. So I gave it up and sold my machine. But that was employment wise.
And you began pastoring Bethel at what age?
44.
Okay.
44, you got out at 88.
44 years. 44 years.
Almost old as you.
All right, so tell me about your call to the ministry leading up to your pastorship of Bethel. What would you like to share about that?
Yeah, it was strange. E. Stafford and I had an apartment together. We went down to Louisiana at the time of revivals. And then Mary Jane had us up there in devotion. Someone else had us in devotion. Somebody said, boy, particularly, you're gonna preach. You're gonna preach. Yeah, you know. So, came back, and Stafford and I had an apartment on 54th and St. Andrews. And I could have this vision at night that the Lord came and stood there. That I want you to preach. I want you to preach. I'm getting ready to talk to him. He just fades on away. So, oh boy. So that might not have been for real. Then, shortly after that, Stafford I didn't say nothing to nobody about it. He left for the preaching. I was told past paradise he'd been called to preach. I said, oh boy, that's going to look like something we made up. So I'm resisting. I try to do a lot of other church work, deacons, secretaries, young adults, all of that. But it just wouldn't give me the relief. So finally, I think about 11 years, when I went to AJ, I was and told him, we was wondering how long you gonna fight it. Oh boy.
So 11 years from the time you got the vision to the time you actually, man.
Yeah, because I was, and the first words out of my mouth when I did my first sermon said, first thing I'm gonna do is ask God to forgive me for being stubborn and lazy and not doing what I should have done when I should have. Because he finally got me. This wasn't satisfied. That wasn't satisfied. This.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, you got me.
Yeah.
You got
So
me.
you and Stafford living in the same apartment together had your vision at the same location around the same time, and he acted on it. You said, like, I understand your like people gonna think this is a
Yeah. And of course, I didn't tell him.
Yeah. And you never told him even after the fact. So you don't get the vision again. It just doesn't. Your spirit just does not sit well with not following it, huh?
Won't let you rest. Nothing satisfies. Yes, and of course, some people want it so badly that they will go and do it and not sure if the Lord's call them or sent them and so forth.
Yeah.
And sometimes at church, I would cry. I wouldn't know what I was crying about. The service would be good. And man, oh man. So finally had a breakthrough.
And how long from the time you announced your calling to when you became a pastor?
3 years. 3 years. Preached my first sermon in 1972. And almost to the date, October. And had a meeting with Bethel, 1975, October. And in that meeting, they decided that I was who they wanted. And I said, wow, that's a little bit of confirmation there.
Right there in the meeting, at the time they met with you?
Yeah, I had been to Louisiana doing a revival at New Friendship. And I was kind of wondering what the Lord was doing because nobody got saved. And and they didn't raise enough money to even take care of my expense hardly.
Mm-hmm.
I said, oh, okay, at least I got back and he said, man, where you been? We've been looking for you. We've been looking for you. That's when they told me that they wanted me to be the pastor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the first thing I wanted to do was recognize and be blessed by perhaps the oldest minister in this family living. And that was Uncle Howard. So I invited him to Bethel to do the first revival. And he was not known as this up-to-date preacher that he called it. But he was genuine in his preaching. And I wanted to show that respect to him. And while he was here, kind of brought up by the reconciliation between him and his children. And that was kind of touching right through there. So that was one of the first things. I guess another thing he did was try to find something that we could do together at the church. And the men painted inside, the whole inside the church. Maybe the outside too, I'm not sure about that. But we got to know each other that way. And that helped a lot. And I preached my first sermon at Paradise. I preached about 3,000 souls were added to the church when Peter preached on Pentecost. A girl named Florence was the best friend of Juanita's. Said, okay, Reg, you can preach, but I don't know about no 3,000 souls. No, that ain't what I'm talking about. That's right. What do you preach, how you preach, so forth. But one of the temporary disappointments was when I went to Bethel. And a whole lot of folks didn't come with me. I was comparing myself to E.E. Stout when he went to Mount Tabor. Hundreds went with him. And I said, okay. But I got over that. And then Stafford told me later on, said, man, if I just had 200 good ones, I'd be better off. Say, I used to be jealous of my cousin who had more land than we did. But I found out he also had more concubines than we did. So I got some relief and he got some relief. Of course, we were close at that time. But on and on from there, I've had some real good days at Bethel, and they outweigh the bad ones. So, as the song said, I won't complain. Yep. And what has helped and a whole bunch is that my immediate family has united with Bethel, and that's said something in more than one way, and that first of all, we're a family, and second of all, the gospel that I preach is pretty well on target. And it makes me humble, happy, thank God that family, because they know you better than anybody else.
Yes.
Yeah, so you said in Ringgold, you all have done a whole lot to keep me from getting disappointed, discouraged.
Oh, okay. That's great to hear. You certainly deposited into us invaluable. What you have been to us is just really, you can't even describe it. But, yeah, so it's likewise.
Yeah, but I don't do like Stafford said. He said, now, I got some cousins out there, but I ain't gonna tell you who they are, so when you talk about me, they'll know what. Boy, they'll be able to tell me what y'all say. Oh, boy.
Is there anything in particular that you would like to share, or that you can share or would like to share regarding a challenge or difficult time as a pastor?
I guess so. Adjusting to the leadership of the church. Shortly after I got that one, to make an album for the choir. And we made it. It came out pretty good. Got ready to make another one. Now, I know that fella you got. He's not, something about it. Now, we know this one, so I took theirs. And of course, he made a lot of glitches when he made the was LP, back then it was the LP. So sometimes I don't like the word compromise, but you readjust for the good of the body. And so I didn't say, see, I didn't say that, I just let it soak in. And throughout the years, I guess 90% of the time, officers and I have been on agreement, one accord, so to speak. And one of the reasons why we were meeting at least once a month. So if something should come up, we could address it before it got to be something too big. And that's been a blessing. It takes your time. It takes some of your time, but that's what's been helping out right there. And sometimes you have surprises and how strong some are. And you have surprises how weak some are. So you deal with that. And you try not to discourage or throw away anybody, but you try to find a way to minister to everybody. And that's a challenge. And in doing that, sometimes it takes time. You can't solve it all the way right in the first time you meet or something like that. But hopefully in time and in demonstrations, those of a different opinion comes around to see your point of view. And I don't have to say I told you so, now I say all that. Say praise God and keep on going. But I know it's just been a good time.
All right, so then what are some of the most joyous or victorious or triumphant times you've had as a pastor?
There's always when somebody accepts Christ for the first time. Every time that happens, that's a mountaintop, because to me that's what the main motive of the church is, to get people saved. So every time that happens, that's up there. And sometimes in the earlier days, it happens more people frequently. And and you don't want to take it for granted that you got to have more.
Mm-hmm.
I had spoken to a fellow in the valley one time. How was church today? I said, oh, it was okay. We only had one to join. One? So I wish I had one, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay,
Mm-hmm.
so the Lord is, He values one soul.
Yeah.
And Scripture talk about the joy in heaven over one soul that repents, more than 1,000 or something else, but
Mm-hmm.
the joy in heaven over one soul that repents.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's it. And we had a lot of good encouragers. The people that can see a need and you don't have to say anything, they'll just up and do it and speak to the occasion.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been a blessing.
What type of things have you done over the years to help keep yourself encouraged in what must be a very difficult calling? Not only ministry, but pastor in particular.
Yeah, you know, the Lord has gifted me that whatever bothers me doesn't bother me too long.
Mm-hmm.
I can be bothered today and I sleep tonight and I come up tomorrow, hey, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And He's gifted me in that area. This problem is not solved yet, but it's not a problem that worries you.
Okay.
And that's been probably the reason that I've been as successful or lasted as long as I have. And then there are certain things that happen only you and the individual should talk about.
Mm-hmm.
The confidence in you and the confidence in them. So it's a challenge there, but when somebody else come up and tell you, I say, well, I didn't tell it. You must have told it yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Mm-hmm. So those are some things you go through as pastor.
Mm-hmm.
When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrow like sea billows roll, whatever my life Thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul.
post pastor of Bethel. What are you engaged in, and what are your future plans, if any?
Okay. Well, since I started preaching, I didn't never intend to retire from preaching. So, in the meantime, the Sunday telecast gives me a chance to preach, and I got other friends who say, "Man, I won't be inviting you, you know, but pastoring, you can. That's not necessarily a lifetime calling. You do that all the time." So I'm able to do that. And then on Wednesday nights, still getting the Bible by book classes out. And that's a good challenge there. And I hope to start putting together something like sermon starters, stories that lead up to a good sermon, sayings that will help people at funerals and things like that. I got a lot of them in my head, but I don't have them on paper and nothing like that. Okay. So that's my, of course, I've had a couple of persons, you ought to be writing a book. I guess I could, but I haven't felt that that's something that I need to do to that extent. And of course, you know, my nieces and nephews all talk about the jokes that I have. You need to write them all down. Was that way a pseudonym? If I do have to do it under another name. Yeah, I can look up that word pseudonym. I think that's what it means.
Yeah, that's it, pseudonym.
Ah, boy. Well, my brother Don, he's still ultra conservative. Oh, boy, so I keep a lively conversation with him, just don't get over too far.
Yes.
Oh, boy. But that's it, and got a good wife and got a good life, and we will do something, the Lord willing, when this pandemic, whatever, lets up. But in the meantime, we getting along with each other in the house.
Yeah. Spending more time together than you have in the last 44 years. And you still like each other. And that was my next line of questioning, actually, was about your lovely life partner, Mrs. Juanita Hall, Thompson Hall Thompson Pope. So you tell us whatever you'd like us to know about her. You could start when you met her if you'd like, or anywhere in between, or anything about your marriage, or your friendship, your partnership in the ministry. Well, you have the floor.
I'll start with this one. You can help me finish. The name is Juanita.
Be careful how you treat her. Is that the next line? There's a couple of them.
No one sweeter.
No one sweeter.
You can't beat her.
You can't beat her.
Careful how you treat her.
Be careful how you treat her.
I added better than a burrito. Yeah, so when the Lord brought us together, I thought about how blessed I am and how He keeps us blending real good each other. And we know each other very well now, almost. Some things probably never know, but in that area. I just noticed recently, we sit down to eat, I take a bite, take another bite, and I reach for the coffee. She reached for hers at the same time. I said, look at here, look at this, look at this. Coordinated. Yeah, and she has been very, very supportive of ministry. And she has the privilege of critiquing And she does it in such a nice way that she said, you know, I consider that, and that may be better. And it's really not like, I don't know what you're talking about, Mr. Drummond.
Right, right. She's a compliment to your ministry, right? Yeah.
Tell you. Yep. And she was not looking for a pastor preacher when she married me, but kind of came with the territory.
So had you had already been preaching? You had already announced your calling and been preaching when you all got together?
About the same time, the same year, in 72. When we got married, at the same time when I made the calling on. And it's kind of something she probably didn't expect. But she has adapted, and she is really studious.
Oh, yes.
She helps me out quite a bit.
She's a legendary Sunday school teacher. That's just one of her many, many gifts. So, did you not? I'm getting the impression you didn't really have a long courtship.
We admired each other from a distance.
Okay.
And that was a time when I was available, she was not. And she was available and I was not. So we finally got those availables together.
Okay. So you had the opportunity, like you said, to observe. That says a lot. You may not know each other intimately or very personally, but if you get to observe somebody for a while, and like you said, admire each other, that you kind of know a lot about a person by. You don't necessarily have to have a long courtship.
Right. That was kind of the way it worked out.
And how many years later? It's still working out? 47. 47. Praise God.
Yeah.
So what can you tell those of us who are watching and listening about how to maintain that? Or how you've done it?
Well, of course, pray. That's one. The other one I would say is adapt, adjust. When I was single, I decided I'm going to Louisiana tomorrow. I hop up and go. You know, I think I want to eat this, want to go this way. I do it, you know. And no consideration of one else. But now on those big decisions like that, you think about your mate. I wanted to go buy a new car, whatever I wanted to do. I do it, you know. But there's a limit. There should be a limit of how much you spend without your partner knowing about it or cooperating with it. And that's what works for me. I don't know if it works for everybody else, but that's what it works. If it's big, we talk about it. Of course, we have room underneath the big to do most everything we want to do. Yeah.
What would you say are some things that you've learned from her? Or if not necessarily learned, or maybe learned that have attributed to your character or your development of your character or personality.
I guess learn how to critique without being critical. Even though the critique is correct, the way it's presented makes a whole lot of difference. And that's really so. You know that was wrong. You know. have a little question about how this went, you know.
Yeah.
What do you think, you know,
Yeah.
things like that. So, and that's the way it goes, and start off by knowing no one is perfect except the Lord. So keep that in mind. Yes, sirree. So that helps. That helps. And then you study your mate and try to learn what they like, what they don't like. And as long as it doesn't compromise you too much, you can adapt to that.
Now you previously mentioned your only son Michael, and I didn't want to just rush past that in the event there was something else you wanted to share about him, what he was like, or anything else about him. If not, that's fine. I just didn't want to just rush right past that without.
Yeah. We were not married when he was conceived, and we did get married, and didn't last too long. And more or less he ended up staying with his grandmom, and I contributed and try to spend some time with him. And I know what he liked, and we warmed up pretty good, warmed up pretty good, and had to, one thing stands out, I guess, is I'm taking him from store to store, seeing what he likes, a suit or something like that. I don't like that one, I don't like that. I finally said, well, I'll tell you what, if we're gonna get this one right here, I'm gonna get one just like it. So we agreed, we had suits just like the blue suits. I said, okay, but it was a development, and so we got along, and of course, at the age of 17, his life was taken from him, and that was painful, and you get a little satisfaction if you say you tried, and you might have come short, but you tried. Yeah, he was a handsome fellow. And he was a little taller than me.
What was his personality like?
I'm trying to see somebody to compare it with. Maybe a little bit of a Michael, maybe. And that's why he's named what he is.
A little bit of Van Michael?
But he liked Clint Eastwood.
Oh, yeah?
I sure him up.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I liked Clint Eastwood too in my youth. Like the Clint Eastwood movies, huh?
And he tried to imitate the Temptations and all those things. He was pretty good in that area.
Singing and dancing, or?
I know about the singing, I don't know about the dancing.
The Temptations, huh?
Yeah.
Well, did he participate in any sports?
Not that I know of.
What school did he attend?
He was that on Fremont or?
Manual Arts?
Yeah, but around 40 something up in that area.
Jefferson.
I know Manual Arts is on Vermont and.
No, not Jeff. He didn't quite get to Jeff. He didn't quite get there. You were going to, what is it, Manuelos or Fremont? Which one is down there close to TP now?
Fremont.
Okay, so it must have been Manuelos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. That's where he was.
And did he graduate? Had he graduated before he passed? Was he still in
He
school?
was 17 and just about to graduate.
Mm.
Yeah.
Now, just so it's clear on the record, for those who don't know, you were saying we when you were talking about his parentage. I just want to make sure that it's clear you weren't talking about your current wife.
No.
But his mom's name was
Shirley.
Shirley.
Mm.
Strong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Can you tell me about someone who has had a big influence in your life? And what lessons did that person teach you?
A whole bunch of folks. In ministry, let's talk about A.J. Allison. And in music, you should talk about Oliver Pope. In coping with the city, talking about Charles Pope. So there's different areas. In relationships, I guess, from a distance, with John Pope's and Clara, they had a home and we spend time there, and they would have folks from back home come stay with them a while till they got on their feet, including Boots as Melvin's brother, and
Melvin
no,
Moles? You say
Yeah.
Boots was what they
that's
called
what we called him. His name was Wilma.
Oh, okay.
Okay. He was a pretty good little mechanic, and he did that. He and Charles had 46 and 47 Fords convertible, but him and then Henson, we called him Buster. I think his real name was Walter. He stayed with him for a while and got on his feet. And I think Bunk, who just passed away last year, stayed with him. What was Bunk's name? Couldn't. Him and John had the same birthday, but different year.
Oh, the other king,
Yeah.
James.
James, yeah.
James King.
And they all stayed with him for a while. They got going, so they were influential in that area. Mm-hmm. And you could laugh and joke with them. Of course, you have to get your models, or your heroes, a little bit here, a little bit there. 'Cause you're gonna find, you might not find, but everyone got some flaws.
Right.
And so you grab what you can from this one, grab what you can from that, and be able to do it. Like I mentioned, the people telling me how to eat. You know.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
How has your life been different than you'd imagined?
I guess educational-wise, I would probably like to go into one of the higher educational academic places. And it didn't work out that way. But that's what was one of my desires. But since it didn't happen, I adapted. And I think I've done fairly well. Not as great big PhD and all of that, but fairly well.
It's like me without you. So dark and drear, when I am sad, he cheers me. When I am lonely, he will accompany me. If I'm grateful, oh, that I have tried. Whoa, he's in my life. My friend and my foe turn, and it seems I'm at the end of my road. Oh, God, say everything. There's someone greater. He's carrying. Oh, he's carrying the load. That's why I am so grateful that I have cried, that I have cried. Oh, he's in my life. It's not like me. It would be so very dark. Oh, don't say, Lord, Jesus, every time I get low, when my burden gets heavy, when my way gets dark, oh, he will find me. That's why I'm grateful. I'm truly grateful. I'm so grateful that Christ is in my life.
Aside from that education, do you have any other regrets?
What could be regrets, I usually try to straighten it out, at least get an understanding, so it's not a lasting thing. So there's been, some misunderstandings, some relationships that you had misunderstanding, but even if you had to do, like Jewel I mentioned, at her own expense, kind of work to get it straightened out.
Yeah.
And that's where you don't be carrying around a whole lot of regrets.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes it takes a little more time. And sometimes you do mama's long handle spoon and things like that. But you try to get through it.
Yeah. What are you proudest of in your life?
Well, besides Juanita, my nieces and nephews, which includes you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, there's some good children. CHILLUNS.
Yeah, it's a good example, that's for sure.
Yeah. I got a few little papers and degrees and stuff. But persons, people, is where my interest lies. And therefore, you can go back to, it depends on how far back you want to go back, you know, parents, grandparents and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But currently, that's the way it is. And I won't trade y'all for a pot of gold. Maybe 2 pots. Yes, sir.
addition to, or is there anything else other than what you've already stated that you'd like to share with the younger generation?
Just choose your friends wisely. Try to avoid the wrong influences. And as Tanner said, I knock on wood. 79 years. Never been to prison except to visit somebody. Don't know what happened tomorrow. You know, but that's I'd say try to, not that the system is right, not all of it, but you learn how to just get your point across in the right way. I've had some experiences in traveling. I went to the county in Shreveport to the Hertz, and a girl who looks like the trip that Evelyn Lewinsky was Hillary Clinton and stuff. Looked like that trip. And wait on, I'll be in line. Oh, a couple like that. Oh, you go? Yeah, okay. I said, okay, I got that. I can go, you go. But then a brother said he would go, okay, well, I'll get to you in a minute. And I said, okay, I'm watching that stuff. In the meantime, she waited on me slowly. So I got it. You know, I remember the name, remember the time, and the experience. And I sent it to head of Hertz and give him that report. Next time I went back into the place, I said, I'm Reginald. Oh, I know you. I said, yeah, I know you too. And let me bring your car around. First time she gave me an old putt-putt way down at the end, because I kind of questioned, you know. But then she was so accommodating. And same thing with one that worked for American Airlines. Just in time to catch my flight, but she won't come out from behind the curtain. Some white folk coming to the counter, she comes out, can I help y'all? I documented that she has a nameplate. I see that. So I missed my flight. Don't raise no saying that. I go to American Airlines, document the time, what happened, when it happened, you know, how it happened. And then the next time I went back, oh, she took retirement. I said, oh, okay, well, the fellow that we just had his funeral not too long ago, he got down there and gonna raise sand with that auto rental place. And all they did was push a button. Security got him surrounded just like that, you know. And he didn't win. You know, so you have to learn how to observe, to document, and put it in the right place, and watch the results. If the right place ain't right, then you got another problem. But most businesses, they don't want no bad influences coming out. So that would be some advice that I would give.
Is there anything you haven't done that you would still like to do?
Not exactly. I would like to have gone the past tense to the Holy Land, Jerusalem, and all of the places like that. It's not a great big pushing desire now, but say 15 years ago or something, I'd would like to have gone. But that's the main thing. Other than that, I'm pretty well content.
What are some of your hopes for the future?
Well, I don't want to sound morbid, but I hope to go to heaven. One of those days, one of these days, but not around the corner. And hope to have a continued health and happy life with my wife, and to be able to meet my obligations and things like that.
Okay. What can you share with us about your children and grandchildren with Aunt Juanita?
Yeah, good people, good people. That's where some of the adjustments came in, but we have adjusted and get along real good. Yep.
And for the record, let's have their names, please.
Sharon, Robin, Christian, other granddaughter down in Louisiana. Anyway, those are some names.
Courtney.
Courtney.
And
And
her brother. What's her brother's name? Corey.
Corey.
Okay, then.
Yeah. So we got no problems.
All right. Is there anything else that we haven't discussed that you'd like to state for the record about you or family or anything else?
No, I think you have dug around pretty good. Yeah.
Eric, you have any questions? Anything I might have missed or anything you want to know?
To find out, can you cook?
I can follow a recipe to the T, and it turns out just right.
I know about Charlotte. I know about Nora.
Yes. I can't whip it up just on a whim like them without instructions, but well, I don't kill nobody.
But that's good. That's good.
You say no?
Out of the 44 years of relationships you have with church members, I'm just saying, how do you plan on? Because you can't get away from it because you had a relationship with them. And how do you plan on continuing, and conversing with them and connecting with them?
Yeah. I have to keep in mind I'm not their pastor, so to speak now. But they still call me for advice, funeral, and stuff like that. And as long as it doesn't get into area where the pastor should be handling it, I try to accommodate and wean. You know about weaning? Eventually get them to depend on their pastor more, contact him more, but not be rude, but be nice, and try to do that, and think about particular things about each one. Each one got a different personality. And some of them surprise you about how they really feel and think, and they'll tell you later on. Yeah. But that's kind of it, DD. It's adjustment, and I think it's right on time. Right on time.
All right. Anything else there? I have one final question, and that would be, how would you like to be remembered?
Just as I am, I guess. Yeah. So the king said, I try to help somebody. Mhm.
Okay, ready?
Yeah, like you said, James Cleveland, hey, give me my flowers. In one of the verses, you don't hear too much. Da-da-da. They say, I'd rather have one little rose than a truckload of tulips after I'm gone.
That's a line in that song?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Rather have just one little tulip. Truckload of roses when I'm gone. Yeah.
On that note, what is your favorite song and or hymn?
I ain't gonna tell you that joke.
Say hymn no. I'll let you hear it again.
Yeah, but songs, it varies. It varies, you know. Amazing Grace is for substance, and you got the story behind it, and like I said, I like a lot of songs, and it's hard for me to point out just one. They kind of flow with the time. You might hear me humming one today that's 40 years old. And I might be thinking one tomorrow. And you all just present it. So some of them bring you to cry. Some of them bring you happiness. The name of these fellows, Kenton Spirituals. And the one, let me see, what is this song? It's a long song, but they Kenton Spirituals. Yeah. You know, someone, when I get to heaven, I'll see just like you. You remember that one, Candy? I saw a blind man tapping along. He could not see like you and me. I said, oh, Master, I feel sorry for you. He said, that's all right. When I get in glory, I'll see just like you. So he does that for the blind man, the crippled man. And he talks about when his dad was sick. And it's probably at least 10 minutes. And he be crying while he doing it. So I like that one.
You have a favorite scripture or scriptures?
Yeah, that floats too.
Yeah, got to figure it would.
Yeah. Depends on the situation. And you don't get away from John 3:16, of course. God so loved the world. You got Romans 10, 9, and 10. That's confess and all that. Romans 1:16. Not ashamed of the gospel. And all of those. So it depends upon, I guess, what I need spiritually.
Yeah.
Is what I get there.
Well, I think I've exhausted all of my questions.
Okay.
Derek.
Well, you're good at what you do.
Thank you. I'm curious, that's for sure.
I don't know who lit surprises for, but it's something like that.
Also, you want to document things you did for the community.
Okay.
If you want
As a pastor, yeah. Let's do that. Let's talk about some of the milestones and accomplishments that you have made in the community, and the community has blessed you with in return.
Okay. I've marched in order to try to keep Martin Luther King from shutting down. Was not successful, but it came back pretty good, pretty strong. I've advocated for post office on 103rd to have his parking lot redone, because when you walk on it, you're walking on rocks almost. Got that done. Advocated for the corner of 103rd and Compton be named in honor of post office man who the post office had right there, and Harold Hambrick, who was actually was a whole lot of community activities. Got that done. And of course I did a lot of invocations in the area whenever something was done. Most all of the buildings down 103rd, shopping center, the library, where the bank is, and whenever they were being remodeled or rededicated, did that, over there on the Promenade of Promise. Several of the individuals that are on there had me down to do the invocation. So of course my image and likeness is over there. Thank God for that. And then from 109 to 110, Compton Avenue is Reginald A. Pope Way. And thank you, Brother Derek, and the staff. Irvin had a lot to do with doing the legwork on that. Yeah. So somewhere over there in the, what's the name of the park across from the church? Yeah, well that we had something to do with getting that, whole lot to do with getting that name down this Killam building. We tried to get the whole park, but we compromised. And then, on the other side over there where the tower, somewhere over there, and we got a name in stone over there for something that we did in getting it developed. Yes, those are the main things.
So you got the name on the little Walk of Fame on.
Yeah, he mentioned that. Well, it's technically called the Promenade of Prominence, but we call it the Watts Walk of Fame. Yeah, so he enshrined.
Yeah, somebody said I need to go there and polish it up. I don't guess nobody polishes them.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but that's that. And let me see whatever is anything else.
Your Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah, y'all know better than I do. First one.
First Lifetime Achievement Award from Musicians in Action, 2019, or was it last year? Or? Yes, 2019.
And I guess they showed it, EP interviewed me a little, that they were going to put it on that way. And I forgot to look for it.
I didn't see that either.
And, Sometimes you don't keep a good record of good deeds. They speak for themselves. But I'm just trying to pull up as many as I can right now.
Yeah, you were the highlights, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You did good. You did.
Yes, sir. So, got the organizer, Watts Area Ministers, organizer, founder of that, and still going. And guess you'd call it a Crusade for Christ. President of that for probably 9 years.
California, Louisiana, Crusade for Christ.
Yep. So I served as president of community, I don't know what the name of it, CAD, Community Action, something like for council member John Flores. And helped get some of the developments unstuck. You know, the CDAC and the people downtown ugly, going to the meeting, cussing out everybody, dismissing. And she asked me what I did. I didn't know what I was getting into. And that church went to the first meeting. Now, who the hell are you? How'd you get in here? So I had a strategy. They had a lot of questions that I could answer that night. I said, okay, I heard you, go to the next one. Oh, well, you can answer that. I said, go to the next one. So they got through and said, now, we recorded all of your questions. And next week when we come back, we're going to have your answers in writing. Oh. Well, see, that I could make a promise. They wouldn't keep it there. So I said, let me get out of here now. I got that got them back on track. And Flores was in New York, so, well, just stay chairman until I get back. Got back. So when she got back to, you know Hal? Anybody know Hal?
Hal.
I got the hell out of there.
Oh.
Boy. Yes, sirree.
All right. Well, that concludes our interview for the memoir of Reginald Alton Pope. Thank you so much for your time.
All right.
Been here quite a while, and you hung in there like a trooper with just one quick break.
Yeah. Well,
Appreciate
thank you for what you're doing. You're a good documentarian, if you can find that word.
Thank you. We hope to continue it with the rest of your siblings as well, and share it with the family when you got it all polished up and ready for production.
All right.
Thank you. Love you much.
All right. Same to you.
God bless.
Same to you.
Keep on keeping on.
All right.
All right.
That's 30, DD. That's a wrap, whichever one you call it.
Yeah, that would have been a great way to end it, huh? That's a wrap. R.A.P.
Still rolling.
Okay, well, that's his line, huh? Yeah, all right. Just have him say that's a wrap.
Oh, yeah. That's a wrap. That's a wrap.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, there's something about that name. Jesus. It's like the feeling it all tonight. You can do it. Oh,